Today we will be talking about severe weather. Severe weather can approach in many different ways in many different areas of the United States and all over the world. What we'll focus on today are going to be four main types of severe weather. So let's start with what we know. What do we know about severe weather? We know that weather that is severe can be life-threatening. We also know that it can have various types of presentation. What do you want to know? I personally want to know why the different types of severe weather occur. And then when we come back to the end of this lesson, I want you to think about what you have learned. First, when we're talking about weather, we have to talk about air pressure. Air pressure is the weight of the Earth's atmosphere pressing down on everything on the surface. So air pressure is going to be how much weight is being pushed down on you at any given time. Remember when we talked about weight in earlier lessons, we said that because the air pressure changes, if we were to say go to the moon, there isn't air pressure. That is why your weight would change, because of the amount of atmosphere pushing down on you changes. We measure air pressure by using a barometer. The barometer is going to tell us if we have stormy, fair, dry, different types of air pressure that is occurring in a certain day. Air pressure is all around us no matter where you are. So even here inside this classroom, I am experiencing different air pressure being pushed down on me. Winds are also something that we associate with extreme and severe weather. Winds are caused by differences in air pressure. So that is how winds occur, when the air pressure in an area varies. Low pressure is going to cause the atmospheric pressure to be lower in a surrounding area, whereas high pressure would be occurring when the atmospheric pressure is higher than the pressure in a surrounding area. Low pressure is going to bring us air that moves in a counterclockwise rotation. It's also going to bring us clouds and wind and precipitation. Typically, what we say is low pressure brings lousy weather. High pressure, on the other hand, is going to move clockwise, and that's going to be clear and quiet. And what I typically tell my students is high pressure brings happy weather. Storms form where there are extreme air pressure differences. So if you go from one extreme of high to one extreme of low very quickly, that is when a storm will occur. The four major types of storms that we will talk about today are thunderstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes, and winter storms. Thunderstorms occur when moist and warm air move up quickly upward, called an updraft, and then that causes it to cool. A cumulus cloud will build upward into a thunderhead, and the clouds that are associated with thunderstorms are called cumulonimbus clouds. Let's stop and think. The cloud type that is associated with a thunderstorm is a cumulonimbus cloud. True or false? That is true. As we said in the slide, the clouds associated with thunderstorms are cumulonimbus clouds. Thunderstorms are also known as electrical storms. Lightning and thunder are characteristics of thunderstorms. Most thunderstorms are going to have strong winds, heavy rains, sometimes snow, hail, or there might be a case where you just have thunder and lightning and no precipitation. Typically, these are very intense and brief in areas. Hurricanes are another type of severe storm. Hurricanes are very powerful, the most powerful type of storm. They're huge rotating storms that form over water near the equator in a low pressure area. Very strong winds, heavy rains, and severe flooding are associated with hurricanes. Hurricanes, again, have very strong winds, flooding, heavy rain, and are low pressure systems. In a hurricane, the winds are going to move counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. This is all due to the Coriolis effect. Wind spins around a low pressure system, which is going to be the eye of the storm wall, which is the eye is the center of the storm, which is extremely calm in comparison to the rest of the hurricane. The eye is surrounded by an eye wall, which is where some of the fastest winds and heaviest rains are going to be located. A storm surge is also something that is associated with hurricanes, and those are going to be a sudden rise in sea level that is dangerous. This is going to cause water to push onto shore that causes extreme flooding. Hurricanes are what we call these types of low pressure storms in the United States. They're also known as typhoons and cyclones. A typhoon is just a hurricane that is in the Northwest Pacific area, and a cyclone is going to be the South Pacific and Indian Ocean, all the same type of storm though. Hurricanes are also categorized in categories 1 through 5. 1 being minimal damage, all the way to 5, which is catastrophic and the most severe damage. Mature hurricanes, like this one here in our diagram, have our rain bands or our outer bands, the eye wall, which is this slightly more gray area, and the eye, which is in the center of the storm. That we said is the calmest part of the storm. Tornadoes are another example of severe weather. These are spiraling storms with extremely high winds. They are produced by severe thunderstorms. This is when warm air in a cumulonimbus cloud rises very quickly. These cause extreme low pressures to occur, and it only is going to affect a small area at a time. Which of the following is not a characteristic of a tornado? Swirling column of air, also called a twister, spiraling high winds, or extremely high pressure. If you remember, I said that high pressure brings happy weather, and a tornado is not what I would think of if I'm thinking of happy weather. And our last type of storm that we're going to talk about are winter storms. These are associated with extreme cold fronts. Typically, you'll see high winds and low temperatures in a winter storm. Examples of winter storms are blizzards, ice storms, and a snow squall. Those are all types of winter storms that typically we don't see here where we live, but in the northern United States and other countries see lots of these types of storms. Which of the following are associated with winter storms? Hopefully you said high winds, low pressures, or low temperatures, and that's it. High pressure and high temperature is not going to give you a winter storm.